parallel and perpendicular slopes to a given line. And our example this time has the line given in what we call the standard form, which is ax plus by equals to c. So a short formula here, the typical way I see most students approach this problem when they're asked to find a slope is to take the equation of the line in the standard form and isolate y to change it into slope-intercept form. But if you're interested in just having a quick little sort of shortcut here, if I were to attempt to isolate the y, I would have to subtract the ax over to the left, and I would have to divide by the coefficient to the y, which is b. So it actually turns out that the slope from the standard form of a line is negative a over b. Again, that comes from moving the ax over to the right by subtraction and then dividing by b. So if we come down to the example provided, 3x minus 5y equals negative 2, we can identify that a equals 3 and b equals negative 5, and therefore the slope of the line inside of this problem is negative a, negative 3, over the number b, which is negative 5, and negative 3 over 5 is 3/5. Okay, now two lines that are parallel have the same slope. They rise and run the same. So m parallel would be equal to the exact same slope we just found, which is 3/5. On the other hand, m perpendicular, which has to be orthogonal to the original line, is going to have a slope which is a negative reciprocal of the parallel slope, or the slope of the original line. So since m parallel was 3/5, that means that m perpendicular is going to be 5/3 negative, or negative 5/3. So those are the two answers to this problem. M parallel, the slope parallel, is 3/5, and the slope perpendicular is the reciprocal 5/3 with a negative sign, or the opposite kind of sign. Okay, so why don't you try to do one of these on your own? Consider the line negative 4x plus 12y equals negative 7. See if you can figure out what the slope of the parallel line and the slope of the perpendicular line are for this particular equation. So assuming you paused the video and tried this on your own, what's the a? Well, a is the coefficient to the x, which in this case is negative 4. What's the b? The b is the coefficient to the y, the number in front of the y, which is 12. So therefore, that means that our slope is going to be equal to the opposite of the a value over the b value, which would be negative 4. So 4 over 12, also known as 1/3. Since the slope of the original line is 1/3, the parallel slope will have to go in the exact same direction, the exact same rise over run. So that would be 1/3, and the perpendicular slope would be the negative reciprocal, the opposite reciprocal. So since 1/3 is positive, the perpendicular slope will be negative, and instead of doing a rise over run of 1/3, we're going to flip it over and do a rise over run of 3/1. Oftentimes we'll call this negative 3 because the denominator is a 1. And hopefully you got the same answers as I did.